Hello, and thank you for joining us for this week's edition of It's Your City. I'm your host, Cortney Bloomer. Today's show is brought to you by Carson City Yoga. Carson City Yoga is a yoga studio located right here in downtown Carson City, offering yoga classes and monthly workshops. Be sure to stop in for their annual open house happening on March 21st. Our guest today is Sierra Scott with the Wild Horse production company, and you are here to talk about the upcoming production of Heathers.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So Heathers is a musical production. Many people know Wild Horse as a children's theater company. This is not a children's production.
Correct. Yeah. So now Wild Horse Productions has two divisions. We have a children's theater division that'll keep bringing you the same fantastic shows. We have Moana Jr. coming up in the fall, and Alice in Wonderland is coming up next month. And we have now started a young adult and adult division called Wild Horse Stage Company. And actually, we say started up, but it is actually reviving it. My dad, many years ago, had done the adult productions for Wild Horse. So we are kind of reviving what his vision was for adult theater in Carson City. So we're really excited to have our inaugural show of Heathers the Musical. This is the high school edition, so it's a little bit brought down from the original Broadway show. However, it's still a very dark comedy. It's got amazing music. It's still pretty edgy. It still deals with some pretty tough themes. Our cast is made up of teens and adults. And, while it is a really fun musical comedy, it also deals with teen suicide, bullying, violence in schools. So there's a lot of really heavy topics that we're dealing with. And, because our cast does have teenagers, we're trying to really approach it in the best way possible so that, we're putting on a great show, but we're also doing it really intentionally. And we've partnered with the Suicide Prevention Network. And we're donating $1 of every ticket to help their mission to raise suicide awareness in our area. And they're also helping us put some messaging in our program out in the lobby, because we just, again, with the messages, we feel like theater is a really fantastic way to open up those conversations. And we want to make sure that we are really living up to the responsibility of putting on a show and opening up these conversations for teenagers.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, this touches on some really tough themes. That might be difficult for some people. Obviously, the people in the production have sort of been living with this for a little while, but might be a little bit shocking or triggering for people who are in the audience.
Absolutely.
So what can people expect ahead of time, just so that we have a little bit of a warning before they go into the show, without spoiling it?
Yes. Well, of course, Heathers is based on the cult classic 1989 movie with Winona Ryder and Christian Slater. It's a really funny movie, and it's a dark comedy. Again, without spoiling too much of it, there's some plots, there's some Mean Girls. This is the original Mean Girls story. And it's kind of the story of Veronica Sawyer, who joins this Mean Girls clique and tries to make her way in the craziness of what high school cliques can be, taking it kind of to the nth degree. So there's a JD, who Christian Slater played in the original movie, comes into town, and he's a rebellious, moody high schooler, and brings in his own drama into this Mean Girl clique. So there's a lot of high school drama, and again, the original movie really played off of those themes of what everyone goes through in high school, but taking it all to a really heightened point of view. And that's what we're trying to do too. So it's set in the 80s, which is really a fun period to work with. We're doing bright colors, we're doing bright sets, everything in neon. So we're kind of taking it a little bit out of reality. Again, because those themes are so dark, we want to make sure that we are setting it a little bit heightened, so it's not quite so dark, because it's a really fun show, and we want to make sure that everyone's having a great time, and then the themes are dealt with as well. So,
all right. This show is your co-directorial debut with your sister. Theater is in your family. As you mentioned earlier, your dad was the original adult theater person with Wild Horse. Your mom is well known in the local theater community for directing many of the Wild Horse children's productions. Tell us a little bit about your life in theater and what led you to wanting to direct.
Sure. So I started doing theater in Carson City when I was growing up as well. I went to conservatory and got my BFA in musical theater, and spent 10 years in New York City. I toured with a lot of Broadway productions. I did theater all over the country and worked with some great directors, and always really loved that side of theater even while I was performing. And then I moved to LA and I was a casting director for a number of years, working on film and television. And casting is really interesting because you are, doing a really quick little direction every time someone comes into the room to audition. So I had a lot of experience working with actors and teaching workshops, universities and different classes all over the country. And we moved up here a couple years ago, and once we got our feet on the ground, I was really excited to jump in and revive the adult theater portion of Wild Horse. So, and then Tara Burke, my sister, has been our technical director forever. She is so fantastic with that side of things, and I convinced her to come over and direct with me, and she is fantastic as well. So it really is, it's all of our family is involved now, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah. So as someone who is directing, what are some of the things that you find most difficult about being a director when you're working, especially with teenagers? That's a tough age.
It is. And again, we're dealing with some interesting, we're having to find angry moments. We're having to find moments of despair and sadness and pulling that out in a healthy way. I don't want anyone digging too much into their own lives to bring that to life. But the thing is that these kids all do deal with this stuff. In high school, the teenagers have a lot of emotions and a lot of drama and a lot happening. And I think that it's really great to bring that to light and to let them talk about their experiences as they need to. Theater is a really healthy way to talk about these issues. We had, at our very first rehearsal, we had everyone write on a piece of paper something that they were bullied for. And we put them in the middle, and anonymously, we all read out loud things that everyone was dealing with. And it's just really eye-opening to see that, yes, these are dark themes, and yes, these are, seem like they're a little bit out of reality, but teens really do deal with a lot of this stuff on an everyday basis, and it's wonderful that they have an outlet in a safe place. The thing about this show is there's a line that is, we were kind before, we can be kind once more. And that has kind of been my thesis of the show. There's all this, what's your damage? There's a lot of really great campy lines that everyone knows from the movie Heathers. But that kindness was kind of what we wanted to focus in on, so that at the end of the show, everyone comes together, we find that kindness again, and that's what I'm hoping, that these kids will take that kindness and that hope with them off the stage as well.
And the audience will take it away as well.
Exactly.
We can all use a little more kindness in the world.
I agree.
The show is going to run for 2 weekends, opening on March 20th. Tell us a little bit about where can we find tickets? Where is it being held?
Great. We are at the Black Box Theater at the Maisie Harris Jesse Black Box Theater at the Brewery Arts Center. And we are running Friday and Saturday nights and a Sunday matinee each weekend. You can get tickets at wildhorsestageco.com. We also have a direct-to-ticket website, which is whproductions.ludus.com. Either way, it'll get you to our ticket site.
All right. And tickets can be purchased online or at the door.
Correct.
Provided that there are any left.
Hopefully not. Let's sell it out.
This sounds like a fantastic opportunity for high schoolers to come and see the show. What messages would you want those students to know that going into the show to help them watch it in a critical way?
I think it's really great there's so much great theater here, and so I'm really hoping that the community will come out to support these kids and really support that they're telling a story that is not only fun, but also important. So, when we talked to the Suicide Prevention Network and we partnered with them, they let us know that they have trouble getting the message out with suicide awareness sometimes because it's tough for them to go into schools and there's a lot of barriers to that. And so it's really, again, while it is a high energy comedy musical, it's also a great way to open up that discussion for teens and for adults that come see it. So yeah, we're really excited to be able to, again, to donate $1 of every ticket sold to Suicide Prevention Network, and we hope that everybody will, come and have a good time, and also maybe bring those themes of kindness and hope and how to make the world just a little bit more of a better place when they leave the theater.
And the Suicide Prevention Network's web address is on the screen if people want to go there and learn more about suicide prevention before the show or at any point. They can find resources there.
And they will be, we'll have the information in our program and also in our lobby as well.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Sierra Scott, for being here today to talk to us about the upcoming production of Heathers. It is taking place at the Maisie Jesse Harris Black Box Theater at the Brewery Arts Center the weekend of March 20th and also the weekend of March 27th. Thank you so much, and we hope everyone will come and support you guys. This is a great show.
Thanks so much.
And thanks to all of you for joining us for this week's edition of It's Your City. Today's show was brought to you by Carson City Yoga in downtown Carson City. Want to get into yoga? They offer classes and workshops, and they're hosting their annual open house on March 21st. Check it out. If your business is interested in sponsoring a future edition of It's Your City, please contact Darla at the address shown on your screen. I'm your host, Cortney Bloomer. We'll see you next week.